Grateful to have been introduced by you, Mr. Prakash Bharat, someone who I've worked with for quite a number of years, being a soldier of the UNC. Esteemed political leader, our deputy political leaders, members of parliament, colleagues on the platform here this afternoon, our national executive members, UNC members gathered here at our UNC headquarters after 2 long years of not being able to gather, together with so many of you who are locked on and listening via our various social media platforms, I say a pleasant good evening to you. The United National Congress, under the leadership of the formidable, the dynamic, and the visionary leadership of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, continues to highlight the issues to you and to us, the people of our beloved Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Yesterday, on every Sunday morning, you will hear our MPs and our senators on the Sunday morning press briefings. On Monday, like today, we have our Monday night forums. On Thursdays, we have introduced TNT Speaks. And on other days, we have the issues being brought to your attention via the Douglas Politics team of Arnold Roberts, Victor Roberts, and Marsha Walker, ably supported by a technical team headed by William Archie. Our political leader deserves applause, commendation, and accolades for her continued efforts in keeping our party strong and our members informed. It is evident that under her stewardship that the party has adapted well. This evening, as I address you, I will be speaking on the issue of the school reopening and the position of the United National Congress in respect of same, with special emphasis on the discrimination in the constituency of Caroni Central by this vindictive, this wicked, Rowley-led government. And then I will focus on some sports and community development issues. So as I begin the substantive issue of the reopening of schools, our Member of Parliament, the member for Tabakit, Ms. Anita Haynes, would have provided you with our position, which was widely reported in all daily newspaper. Basically, what we are saying is this is a knee-jerk reaction by this government, and it is really ad hoc, because they are opening schools for opening's sake. There is no information and data available and or presented by the Ministry of Education to return to the status quo pre-COVID-19. There's another issue. They have moved all repairs and infrastructural work from the special purpose company being EFCL to MTS, and now MTS is burdened, currently rushing to complete repairs in time for the school reopening. Now, as I saw in the newspaper over the weekend and up to today in the newspaper, there are a group of contractors who are owed in excess of 600 to 800 million by the EFCL. And what has happened in the last 7 years is that they have been cherry picking to pay certain contractors. You have to show your PNM membership card in order to be paid by the EFCL. And then there's a winding up petition to be heard on April 25th before the court in respect of EFCL. So we know there's a group of contractors who are being owed, and they intend to, from my information, to file an action shortly before the Honorable Court. So we say it's a knee-jerk reaction, no information. We're saying that the MTS is burdened in terms of doing repairs, because I've spoken to at least 3 to 4 principals in the constituency of Caroni Central, and they have told me that they have had to send a list of priority repairs to each for their schools, and out of the list, let's say 10, they have been only granted 1 and 2 repairs by the Ministry of Education. So we are expecting when school reopens, there will be havoc on April 19th. Additionally, there is no word on the sanitization methods and the provisions and the adequacy of same in time for the school reopening. What we have been told also is that in the past, when there was a phased opening, it was the Parents Teachers Association, and philanthropic and benevolent parents who were able to assist in providing proper sanitization in the school. The first call that I had this morning when I went to the office was a call of a parent, and they are of the opinion that the government wants to open back school in a rush So there'll be a rise in cases, a spike in cases, so that they can shut down and they can control us like they have done using these regulations, which will be soon tested elsewhere at the Privy Council. So that is another issue. The other issue with the school reopening is the school transportation, the yellow buses. This service is not fully operationalized in time for school. And we know that these individuals, persons who run the school bus, they have not been paid for years. This is especially important for rural communities such as Caroni Central. The unavailability of vaccines for children ages 5 to 11 is another issue for consideration. We were told on the last day that we attended Parliament that the government is awaiting the arrival of vaccines from Spain with no definite time frame for this. What about parents who would like their child or children to be vaccinated prior to going into physical contact with other children and students? And now these are the same students who not too long ago had to wear masks in cars with their parents. You're now asking them to go into school with other children, unvaccinated and so forth. So there's a lack of proper planning by this government. It shows the depth in which they will go just to control you, because the Ministry of Education is opening schools. The Minister of Health doesn't know when the vaccine is going to arrive. So right hand doesn't know what left hand is doing. And we know, and as the leader told you, there's infighting in the PNM. So let me bring you to the issue one issue in respect of the Presal Government Primary School in the constituency of Caroni Central. And when I say the discrimination is throughout the length and breadth of all constituencies held by UNC members, I tell you, it extends beyond, it transcends all boundaries, not just roads, not just drains, not just amenities. It transcends into the book bag of the children, the future of this country. When the United National Congress demitted office, the Presal Government Primary School was 85% completed. Now this school commenced operation in 1947, 1948, and has over the years produced many, many outstanding individuals in various fields of endeavors. Let me name some of them for you. Members of Parliament, late Kelvin Ramnath, Dr. Hamza Rafiq, councillors, Babu Gori, Cornelius Williams, Babulal Balkaran, Boya Sahadev, Krishna Rupnarayan. Sports, let's look at cricketers. Household names that you recognize, came from Presal Government Primary School. Inshan Ali, Ranjin Anand, Theo Coffey, Eugene Antwine, Giles Antwine, Gopal Sahadev, Ravi Rampal, Dinesh Ramdeen, Olympians, Rafi Mohammed, who participated in the 4x400 meter relay at the 1980 Moscow Olympics. Additionally, this school has won 10 national primary school cricket competitions in the last 2 decades. So this school has produced quite a number of outstanding national and international students over the years, in addition to doctors and lawyers and other trade craftsmen. This school has produced well. So what has happened since the PNM has taken office in 2015, they have left the school to ruin, to deteriorate. It has left abandoned, forsaken, and deserted. It is a breeding ground for rats, rodents, and other insects. There is a septic tank on the compound which was not installed, and it's above the ground, and it has been filled with water. It's now a breeding ground for mosquitoes. The constituents in that area complain to the corporation, and they have had to spray a number of times. It's also the breeding ground for persons wishing to conduct and engage in nefarious, reprehensive, and illicit activities. The constituents have also been complaining that they have had to call the police on quite a number of occasions because they have seen individuals going into the compound there at night to conduct certain activities. So what pertains, as the school is not in operation, what pertains is that the students have been cramped into the Presal Community Center, which was built under the leadership of Kamala Prasad Bisasa. So where there will be normally 3 to 5 students occupying one desk, the students are cramped 5 to 6 students in one desk. So there will be no social distancing, when these students attend school on April 19. There's also a tent in the car park where there are desks and chairs that students have to learn from. I'll tell you, it's not a comfortable learning environment. So whilst the number of students would have dropped a little bit from 2015 of 400 to approximately 300 now, the 100 students have to be accommodated in nearby schools, and which are also filled beyond capacity as parents and students seek alternative accommodation for a relatively comfortable learning environment. So I tell you, on April 19, I will be going live on Facebook, and I want to invite the media to come at the Presal Community Center, where we will see firsthand and get a first-hand experience of what is taking place in respect of the school reopening. Because you know the narrative will be that school reopened successfully and that will be the end of it. Minister says no hiccups in school reopening, but I will be going live from the Presal Community Center so that you can see firsthand for yourself what is happening. And this reminds me, we have seen this already. We have seen this movie already from the PNM government. You remember the Beach High School? How many of you remember the Beach High School? This was started under the Bastill Pandey administration, and they made all excuses why this school could not have been completed. And it took a Kamla Prasad Bisasa administration 10 years after to bring relief and education closer to the people of Beach, and something which would have saved them, at least the parents, hundreds of dollars in transportation and other costs for each child residing there. So I say the discrimination is across all sectors, and this is what the PNM is about. Let me turn your attention to some issues with respect to sports, because nothing is happening in sports. For all those in the sporting fraternity, the players, the athletes, and the administrators, they will all confess and acknowledge there's a lack of proper planning and strategic direction by the Minister of Sport. It is a PNM blind spot vision for sports, community development, and community and youth development. Nobody works there. Madam Speaker, nobody works there. So one of the issues which I have brought to the attention of the government, and some of the things they try to hoodwink the population into believing, is that they are doing something in respect to sports. So when in my first year at the budget of 2020-2021, they moved the tax allowance for persons sponsoring sports from 6 million to 12 million. And one of the questions I asked was, so how many persons in a bracket of 5 to 6 million? Because you're thinking, if they are moving the bracket higher, that there are people knocking on the ceiling to want to contribute more. The answer is that there was no one in that bracket, but they wanted you to hoodwink the population to think that they were doing something for sports. I reminded the minister that under the People's Partnership Government, a tax allowance was 150% for sponsorship to sports, and he was free to implement it. He or she was free to implement it, but they see that as a UNC policy, so that they will not, just like the laptop, just like the Children's Life Fund, all those are good things for the population, but because it was implemented prior by the UNC, it is no longer good. That is the PNM playbook for you. Another issue, something which is very important for those in the track and field industry, which is the anti-doping organization. Now, when this bill was brought to Parliament, it was passed unanimously by both houses of Parliament, unanimously passed. And the anti-doping organization, which serves as an authority in anti-doping, bringing trusted experience and expertise to testing, results management, and athlete education program, over the years, this organization have been basically given no resources. In last year's budget, there was no allocation to the anti-doping organization, so they do not want to operationalize this organization. Then, this year's budget, $287,000. So I say, well, I tell myself when I saw the budget, before the explanation came, that, hey, something is going to happen here. When you ask the light time, what is this about? They say, well, this is to an annual fee for continued membership in some international organization. So again, nothing respect to the anti-doping agency. So basically what we have in sports is a disgrace. There's a total collapse of sports before COVID. Now, post-COVID, our nation athletes on bended knees, praying and begging for the government to spare a thought, throw them a lifeline. Existing facilities are dilapidated. Ghost town standing as a visual reminder of the callous disregard shown by this PNM government over the last 7 years to the sporting industry. Now, when have you ever heard, or when last have you heard the Minister of Sports spoken about sports tourism about sports medical development, about coach education, coaching caravan, talent identification, sports marketing, sports festivals. Football has also been decimated. No funding for the Pro League and or the Super League, which has now been called the Ascension League. Access to public facilities remains something that is non-existent. We have also the National Aquatic and the Diving Well and facilities which have not been used. No qualified coaches have been hired. Under the People's Partnership Government, approval to hire several Chinese diving coaches to identify, enhance, and develop our children's national ability was taken to Cabinet. Under this PNM, the diving well remains just as empty, an empty hole reminiscent of the Treasury under this PNM government. So, you know, stats have a way of providing good data. So under Kamala Prasad Bisesa at the 2012 London Olympics, Trinidad attained 1 gold, 3 bronze medals, and 11 finalists. Under Keith Rowley, Tokyo 2020, no medals. So I have one question for the Minister of Sports. Apart from roaming phone bills and drinking almond milk, what else has the Honorable Minister of Sport achieved under her tenure? Ladies and gentlemen, with those few words, I thank you tremendously. Do enjoy your night.
Make sure the talk is done now. Time to start back the work now. All the talk done, all the talk done. Work nation!
We fed up at these people and all the bag of lies and everything that they're doing wrong. They're trying to disguise.
Always pointing fingers, never wanna take the blame.
We frustrated now, don't want no more, and we ain't taking it again.
Talk done.
Let's get to work again.